Everyone, am I audible? Okay. So just let me share my screen. Okay. So can you just provide me a recap? What have you studied in the previous sessions? Anyone? Can someone provide me a recap? What have you studied so far? No one? Okay. Let me just set up a project. And let me zoom in a bit so that you all can see this. Okay. MKDR front. Okay, so today we'll be seeing a live project we'll be building. Maybe like we'll try to clone some of the pages of maybe like YouTube or some other website, and we'll see how we can clone or replicate a design from a screenshot or from a UI design to a web page. Okay, so first of all, let me just make it clear about the difference between the normal HTML pages, HTML websites, and React websites. Okay, so the main difference you'll find here is when you open a HTML website and you change a page, suppose that you have a different pages. So maybe you have an home page, about page, or maybe pricing page. Okay, so you have a different pages here. What happens once you click on that page, a complete page will get reloaded in case of HTML websites. And then comes React website, which is called SPA, means single page application. So what it does, it initially loads a single HTML, it loads a single HTML and then updates the DOM. So the main difference comes here is actually a DOM. DOM is basically just the documentary, the complete HTML, how it is being rendered. Okay, so HTML is a real DOM and React website is a virtual DOM. It means a page change needs to completely reload in HTML websites, whereas in React, it just updates the page content. It removes the elements and update or change anything within the document, right? So that's called the single page application, where only once HTML file gets loaded, and then we can update based on the whatever we need. Where in HTML, everything gets changed. Okay, so let me just set up a project. Okay, one more thing. Uh, do your previous mentor had a setup project with React or React Router or Nexus? What have you used earlier? Because the thing what I started in one of the session was create React app, which is now deprecated. Even React now tells us to use a framework, and this is the reason there is no compatibility with Tailwind or any other things in Create React app nowadays. So we'll be using with the framework only. So in the previous session, the mentor used which framework? Either they set up a React router or Next.js. What you have you been using? Anyone? Because Create React app is not deprecated, so we'll be using maybe through a framework. So the most two popular things are there either Next.js or the React router. So let me just use a Vite bundling front-end tooling, and we have. I guess everyone has installed Node.js, right? Let me just set up a quick poll. Please opt for poll, everyone. Everyone, please opt for poll. Okay. I guess so. Most of them I've already installed the Node.js. I guess then you can set up the React.js project from this command. I'll just copy this in the location. I'll just paste, and it will ask me so the questions how I want to set up the project. So I'll just write a project name. Let's keep it white project, and I'll choose React as a framework with the React router v7. Okay, and I will install it. So I'll just also provide you this command in the chat. Okay, so use this command to set up the React project. Okay, you'll be asked some of the questions. You can just simply click on yes, yes, and it will install some dependencies. Make sure to have a project name there. Select the framework as React and select the variant as React Router v7. Okay, I guess it's now set up. I'll switch to the Vite project. Okay, let me zoom in a bit. Okay, so here is our complete React project. We have white config, we have React router config, we have our app directory here where we have all those routes. Okay, now let's run this npm start. Cannot find module. What's the issue? I guess let me just reinstall. I guess the script is okay. Let's try npm run that. Okay, so the npm run dev works fine. Localhost 5173. Okay, so our React project has been initiated, and now we can develop our website or whatever we want to do. Okay, now in this project, first I guess your previous session you had already learned about this package.json and other things, right? Now let me just clear up everything else so that we can sorry so that we can continue with the project. Now the entry point first of all is the root where everything comes from. Here you will see the exact HTML content where we have head tag, we have then body, then comes the app function, which returns the outlet, means whatever kind of layout we want to provide. Then we have some kind of an error boundary. Okay. Then in that case, we have this routes, which is developed by the React router itself. Then we have this routes home. Okay, and we have this component called welcome. So let me just delete this entire thing, and also I'll clean up this. Hello project. Okay, welcome has been deleted, I guess. Yes. So it now works. We can zoom in a bit so that everything is clear. Okay. Now, so to replicate a design, what you actually need is first to understand the layout. So let me give you an example about youtube.com. Okay. So this is suppose that an YouTube, and we have this layout. Let me just take a screenshot. I'll make it here. Okay. Now to understand actually about this YouTube website, what do you find here? We need to first of all split everything, that what component has been used and how we will be replicating that. Okay, so let's suppose this is an UI design, and what we need to implement is, so first of all, let me just let a rectangle. This is a complete page. Sorry, I'll do side by side. Okay, so we have this kind of screen, then we have a left side navigation, then we have an action header, we have an action header here. Okay, then we also do have these tabs, so we'll add one more tab here, right? Then we have certain videos, so these are the same components and width, everything, right? Like this we can keep it. Okay, so now what we did, we first split it into the main component. Now we have this navigation on the left side, we have this action header on the top, then we have this tabs, and then we have these YouTube videos. Okay, so we'll try to replicate this design in our components. So first, what all we need is to make some components, and let me make the components. Maybe we can create components, and I guess first of all we need to install Tailwind as well. Acha, Tailwind is already installed, so nothing to worry about that. Let me just check. Minimum at screen. Minimum at screen with BG. Let's keep it black, and we can use this dark mode. Appearance, device, and nothing. Okay, fine. So now let's proceed with this. First of all, what we need is navigation. Navigation. Then we have action header, and then what we have is tabs. then we have tabs, and then we have videos. Okay, so let me create first of all navigation component. Navigation.tsx. Navigation. Then we have header .tsx. Header. Then we have tabs. And then we can video thumbnail component. Okay, so these are the four components we'll be using to build the initial page. Okay, so now in this layout, now let's import that navigation. First of all, navigation component. Now the navigation component is now visible to us. Also, let's provide this text white by default. Okay, so we have now navigation. We also need header. We have now header. Okay, in the YouTube section, we have this first of all action header, and then we have navigation. So let's build the action header first of all. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay, so we have this first of all SVG icon. I can just copy this icons from here itself, or maybe we can use some icons from the net. So let me just search for menu, and we have this copy JSX. Okay, so in header, let's first add the SVG icon. Then we also have this YouTube icon. YouTube icon. YouTube icon SVG. This is not an SVG. We have this SVG. Okay. And then we have the and this is not supported in React JSX. Okay, we have this React compatible, but SVG single, or let's just use an image maybe rather than this. Okay, we have to have SVG, and you can convert to SVG to JSX. Okay, so we have this. Now let's see. We have this YouTube icon. We have this menu. Now we need a search bar. So first of all, let's style this with flex item center and gap with 5. And yes, and we also need to have this height. Let me just add this height maybe to 32 with 10. I guess it's getting cropped. And we can do like 2. Okay. Now we need to have this. Let me zoom. Okay. Flex item center gap 5. So why is there is too much gap between these two? Because it's taking complete width. That's why. Just let me use an image instead of the SVG. Their heights are very new to image. They don't have the brand assets or something. Oh my god. A different kind of a struggle finding an icon. Damn it. Or let's just, we'll do it later on. A different kind of struggle we are having finding a YouTube icon. Nothing to worry about. We can do later on. Let's continue with this. Now we have an input. So let's add an input here. Okay. We also do have this search icon next to it. So we'll add a button first. And then we also need an icon for that. Class. Okay. So we have this input and this. Now let's just style it with this BG gray, maybe like 800. We can do that. W max, we can max with W, and then yes, 700 pixel max. Okay, so we do have now 700 pixel maximum. They do support with 175. BG grade 500. I guess we can add some direct colors from the YouTube itself by checking 121212. So we have the exact color, and that works. Okay, and then we can add a class name with the W full. Okay, and then we can say H12 height with a rounded full. Okay, we also need this flex item center justify between, so that everything gets in equal spaces. Now in right side we have this avatar. So we can add one more div here with flex gap 5 maybe, and add some avatars. So add in div with size maybe 12 and rounded full. What it does is there is two things to mention. First of all, if you see what I wrote, I somewhere used h, which means height, w means width, and if in some cases you want to use same height and width, like maybe h12 and w12, in that case tailwind gives you a new property called size. So it will, if you write size 12, it works with h12 and w12 both. So instead of writing two things, you can write single. So that's why there is a new property called size. So if you see, we have width and we have height as well. Okay, we can add this image. img. We can add the URL. So now we have this. We also need to have an padding. So px8 we can do. So we have a little bit of padding from both side. Size 12 seems to be bigger. So let's add 10 here. Perfect. Now in this case, class name, I guess SVG doesn't support here. Now in that case, let me simply use the and YouTube image. I guess we need the white one. YouTube white icon. Yes, it's incomplete image anyways. Ah, it's okay. So we can use this image here. Now we have YouTube image icon, we have menu, we have search. We'll have to style all those. Are you getting what I'm trying to implement here, everyone? Are you able to understand what I'm trying to replicate the design and how? Are you even understanding this? Little. Of course, it will take time to understand. We'll be building some more projects, and over the time, you'll be able to understand. But if you're even getting a little bit of idea, that's a great start to understand. Okay. See, because we have a lot of experience, so for us, it's very pretty basic thing. But for you all, it's a learning phase. So it will take time, of course. So nothing to worry about that. Okay, let's move further. Now, so we have this. Let me just remove the navigation and make it to the bottom part first of all. Okay. Now we also need padding from the tops, and so we can add like py2. So from the padding also top we can add. Also px6 would be much more better. here in this case, and now it looks decent. Now let's style the search. So in that case, where is this input? This is the one, right? So first of all, we'll have to use flex component here because input is supposed to be a work everywhere. Then in button class name, that would be around W12. Okay, with the padding start maybe 4 or at least 2, and padding end with 3. I guess now it looks decent, same wire like we have in this. Okay, so what's the color of this? With opacity of 14. So it's BG white. No, okay, but I don't think so. That's the color. Okay, 0.8%. So BG white with 8% opacity, and now it looks similar. But if I see there is this background in that case. So first of all, padding start 3. So now input looks decent. We'll do appearance none and outline none. And then in focus, add a border, maybe blue 500. Border and in focus. So now it's working perfect. Now in that case, first of all, border will have to implement within focus, and BG1212 will be done of input. And rounded left size will be full. I need to zoom in a bit. Okay. Now this looks perfect. Same border and same design here. Now I need to style this end. So in the button side, rounded are full. Okay. Now if you see, it moreover looks same, not exact of course, because we're just duplicating. So now we have this menu icon, we have this YouTube icon, then we have search, and then we use this avatar. Okay. So we have now a decent thing for our app. Now we'll have to build this navigation. So in the navigation, let me zoom out a bit. So we have multiple tabs here like home, short, subscription. So let's build that one. Header is done. Now we implement navigation. Navigation, let's keep W to 60. And I guess there is no background needed for this one. Yes, there is no background needed eventually. So we'll just create tabs and add same padding overall. I guess simply padding is everywhere, right? So let me add the padding on global level, P5, and in header remove that. And we can say px5 and py2. Now it's look good. Okay, now in navigation we can also tell mp5 to be top. Now let's keep it full for now and add some navigation buttons. Okay, so we have maybe multiple buttons here. Button like home, then we have shorts, then let me add explore, right? So we have multiple buttons and also subscriptions maybe. Perfect. Now let me style this w full and text first. Just BGY. I guess there is no transparent on hover only. We have BGY with 10% on hover. It works great. And then we need text to be left aligned with a padding of at least 4, and then py2. Now it looks decent. We'll add rounded MD. Now if you see, we have some kind of decent thing. We can also add multiple, and we can add this border T so that there is an difference here, right? So there is a divider. We can see same way like here we do have. For now I'll just skip this and I'll just copy same thing twice or thrice. Okay, we'll add overflow to this and at least we can give this 100 view height and for RAM. So now this shall work more perfectly. Wait a second. Okay, so we have this navigations and I guess we can add a divide. Divide by. So we have that divide by 10. Okay. So now we have the divider as well, and we have this buttons in the navigation end. Okay. Now let's build the tabs. So to decide one more thing, this is the complete page width for the action header. In the navigation, this will be included within the page width. So we'll have to use flex again here, and then we'll include other things in this one. Okay, so we have this flex one property. Let me just check if that is available with. Now if you see, to better designate this, now we have this action header. Left hand side we have navigation, right side the full space. Now we have left for creating the YouTube thing. Okay, now in this space we need to have the tabs. So first of all, let me remove this, add the tabs here. Okay, in tabs component we'll add multiple divs again. Let's add the class name. Okay, like all. Okay, we need buttons instead of div. uh, Music gap shall be 2. That shall work more better way. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay, so we all music, then maybe like mixes, movies, and maybe coding, API. Okay, so we have now these tabs. I'll keep one of them as an active. I also remove this gap. It's already so much decent. You see, now we have these tabs. We have this navigation here. Okay, now we'll build this thumbnail. Okay, so in that case, we need some of these images. So let me copy this URL. Now we need video thumbnail. In that case, first of all, we need an again div with an w full and aspect video, and use image of that h full w full object cover. Okay, now we can control the width from here. As we need to show multiple thumbnails, what we'll do, we'll use a div with a grid, and we'll add some of the columns, maybe like 4 columns we can show with a gap of 4. And now we can show the video thumbnail multiple times. Now if you see, we have shown multiple times. This is the grid 4 columns. Now maybe we can zoom out, and now we can add some more of the things. Let me also add some of the padding overall here. Okay. Now in this, add around it. Okay. Now we need some of the text, or first of all channel image. So we have this. Now in here We need again flex item start. We would need gap to and of course empty2. Then we need an image of 10 and rounded full. Now we have channel image and then we have title. We can add. Now we have this title and we need channel name. Then bottom, maybe some Raina. Okay, and again we need this. Now, if you see what we have created so far, that's a very basic thing. Or not, of course, we can replicate everything in this short of period of time. But if you see, we have somehow created a similar to YouTube page. It now has an action header on top. We have a navigation on the left side. Then we have these tabs, and then we have these videos. Okay. Now, if you see what we're trying to do is currently we are copying and pasting every same document or same component. If you see, we have this repetitive number of video thumbnails. In tabs we have repetitive number of buttons, right? Now how we can optimize this to have a single component with reusability. Now we'll see that same way like we used video thumbnail. We created one video thumbnail and then we used multiple times. But how we can use it with the different data currently is the same thing in all four, right? All five one. Now what we will do, we'll be adding some dynamic data here. So I'll just remove this. And how many of you know concept of array? Do anyone know concept of array? Have you studied about JSON in previous sessions? If not studied, nothing to worry about. I will be teaching that. But do you know about arrays, JSON, object? Anyone? Hmm? Uh, just hold on a minute. Okay, no worries. We'll continue with that. Now, we can include dynamic data by providing data in an array, and we'll use that. So maybe like we can provide const videos is equal to array. Inside that, we can provide number of data like ID is one, title, thumbnail, channel, views, time, right? And I'll ask ChatGPT to create some of the dummy content. Generate up to 10 data. Now let's use this. So we have this, and now we can implement here like title we have there. So what's the problem? Let's check here. Now we need this title, thumbnail. We can add this types. We can replace with thumbnail, right? Now we have here title, channel. We also need channel type, channel image as well. And here we have channel name, right? We can also include channel thumbnail. Include channel thumbnail. Now you can also provide with channel thumbnail. Great. Now we can provide here channel thumbnail. Now if you see, we have single component and we are able to display multiple videos with the help of same component, single style, but now we have different data, right? Now if you see, we have this one of these videos here, the other videos, right? Now we have multiple videos, different data with the same component. What we call this is dynamic data, because if you see in this component video thumbnail, what we are telling from the function, what we can expect is title, thumbnail, channel thumbnail, views, and time ago. These are the six properties we are expecting it to get passed from the parent component where it is used. Okay, so in this components we have the six data which we can show. Now in the parent component, in the parent page, if you see what we're doing, we are accessing these values from where? From the array of objects what we have declared here. So we have this 10 videos array of objects, which includes everything: title, thumbnail, channel thumbnail, views, and time, everything, right? So now it is able to display all those data, which made us very efficient without writing multiple line of code, without repeating code, and we're able to display all those. So did you get any of it? Did you understand about displaying dynamic data? Let me create a poll. Everyone opt for poll. So basically, in this scenario, what we just did is we created a single component. I'll explain here as well. We created a video thumbnail component, right? Now what we told, instead of like passing data every time with this, we cannot create every component, right? So if we are seeing that this component is getting reused everywhere, what we told, this component shall accept data as properties from parent component, parent page or component. So Now, whenever I use this video thumbnail, I want that parent provide the data like title, thumbnail, right? Now, either we can provide one by one, or simply to make it more efficient, what we did, we added a array of objects. Array of objects we provide like title, description, everything there, right? What happened with this? Now we have a set of data to provide and to display in UI. Now we have in JS, JavaScript, we have map function, which iterates over all these values. So if you see here, we displayed videos, which is an array of objects dot map, and then we access individual objects as like video variable, and then we can access the object data like parameters is video, and in video what we have id, we have title, thumbnail, channel thumbnail, views, time ago. So we have these values, and then we can simply pass these values as in properties to this component. And within a single component with help of dynamic data, we are able to render 10 of videos. Even we can render hundreds and thousands of videos, right? Without rewriting every component. So that's the benefit of using a React components. You are able to reuse that. So is it clear up to now? Anyone in chat, just confirm, is it clear or not? Okay. So now we'll be seeing the concept of routing. Let me just close all of this. Just an example to show. So we have this YouTube list of videos, right? Now, if you see, if I just switch between tabs, for music, we have all those music content, we have mixes, then we have web series, or we have everything, right? So based on the tab content, the videos also get changed, right? If you saw. Now, to implement this, what we can do is we can ask ChatGPT again to include some tab names. We can provide with the tab names, add categories, and so that we can filter by the category. Okay, I need category array. These are the categories. So in tabs, what I will do, I'll just show categories, right? And then we can just map all those. Now we have dynamic categories as well. I'll just remove or made overflow auto, right? With w cal, or just for now, just we can simply store limited numbers. Okay, and keep it hover. So on hover we have this, and we can manage a state. Okay, now to manage some stateless and stateful data, what we can do is React.js provides us with a hook. all this like hooks and everything I'll explain in the next session, where the next session will be mostly about the theory, because the things what we have currently implemented will have Hello everyone. Am I audible now? Just confirm, am I audible now? Okay. Sorry, I had an my phone got switched off. Okay. Uh, till where I just explained. Anyone? Anyone? At what point I got disconnected? Anyone? I guess mostly it's clear only. I was just explaining about this filters, right? We had already created this action header. We have this navigation. We also implemented the filters based on the tabs. We are able to view all those content, right? So I guess the implementation part for the first practical, that's it. We'll have to move forward with the theoretical part before getting with the advanced practicals. So I'll just give you the overview what we will be doing in the next sessions. So React is not just for websites. You create here dashboards, websites, analytics. It's widely used. Okay. So it's not just one of the case that you are building just landing pages or something. You can create multiple things here. Most of the complex works is done through React. Now we have different frameworks for different purposes. So if you see like React router v7, what we just used, it provides you three different things. Either you want just routing, you also have client side versus server side, and you have caching capabilities as well now. So there is most other things in the advancement you will be seeing, like a server-side caching or how client-side caching can do. We can how we shall call API calls, what is fetch, what is exhaust, how we will be using React query, and most of the things, right? And with the framework, if you see, we have different frameworks based on React, are like make we have yes, we 10 stack. Now, if you are also seeing that tools like White, these are like for tooling tools. This is like kind of Webpack alternatives, or we can tell. Again, what is Webpack and what is ESLint? We'll be seeing all those. The topics are like Webpacks. We have tooling. We have RSpack. So in webs in White itself, you will be able to see some of those things. So how does it power? Wit is currently powering all those major frameworks like Vue, React, Angular, Svelte, Astro, and most of the things. So they are powering most of the front-end frameworks, as in front-end tooling. Okay. In React also, either you work with any of the React frameworks. Few of the things you'll have to learn about is React hooks. We have different kind of React hooks, like use state, one of those we just talked about. Then we have use effect. We have use ref. Okay. Then I when you will be working with the forms, then you would be majorly working with the Zord for validation. So one of the examples, if I tell you about the form validation, is like you want user to add a name, the number, and then you want some of the age. So in that case, you'll have to write validation for each input, right? And which gets complex over the time, managing all those validation forms. In that case, Zod comes in and Zod powers most of the forms in the current scenario. What Zod helps you, you write in schema basically, and it looks like you tell like basically if it's age, you want that z dot number. So it will only accept number in that case. If you want like minimum of age 18 shall be there, so only minimum of age 18 is allowed. If you want to her maximum age, only 50 shall be allowed. So you can add that. For name you want like it shall be string, so you can tell z dot string maybe. So that way you can define the schema, and based on that, validation gets so much easy. Then in the most advancement, you will also find using React query. This helps you with calling APIs, do caching, stale time, and most other things. So in the coming classes, we'll be discussing about from a beginner level to the advanced level dashboard building and use case. We'll be including most of the tools which are currently used in the modern dashboards, so that once you start using React, you already know most of the things, right? So if you are seeing it as the session timing is very less for now first, but in the coming sessions, the more practical we'll be doing, the more you will be able to know about React. React is not just one of the things, but it compiles with most of the other features as well, and that makes it as a great framework compared to any other. In the current scenario, if you see any developer building a website or a dashboard, there is high chance that you will be using React. And even if you are using AI or something, the first of all they will ask you to set up a React project, because React is become as a standard in the current scenario. Okay. So I guess we have session in today night as well, right? We have a session today night. In that session, we'll be discussing about the theory concepts of this hooks and other concepts of React. I guess that's it for today. And if you have any questions, you can ask. There is still 10 minutes left. So if you have any questions, please drop in chat. Do you have any questions you can ask? That's it for today. I'll wait for 2 to 3 minutes. If you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, then see you in the today night session, and we'll be seeing about the theoretical parts. Thank you, everyone.